The morning sky was still dark when 13-year-old Anil finished collecting the last sack of garbage. His hands were raw. The stench had long stopped bothering him. What gnawed at him more than the hunger was the silence at home. His mother lay in bed, too weak to stand, too proud to beg. And his father? Gone long ago. Anil wiped sweat from his brow with the sleeve of a torn shirt and sat by a tea stall. One of the workers, a man named Pintu, tossed him a piece of bread. "You'll waste away, boy," he said. Anil nodded, took a small bite, and pulled a tattered book from his sack. "You still reading those?" Pintu laughed. "I want to be someone one day," Anil said softly. "Books won't feed your stomach." "No, but they might feed my future." That was Anil, quiet, focused, on fire from the inside. He spent days scavenging and nights studying whatever books he found in trash heaps. Dictionaries, torn school books, old newspapers. He read everything. Under the flicker of a streetlight near his slum, Anil taught himself math, English, and science, bit by bit. One rainy evening, a retired schoolteacher named Mr. Shetty noticed him crouched under the light, scribbling in a notebook soaked to the edges. "Why aren't you in school?" Mr. Shetty asked. Anil looked up. "No money, but I want to learn." The next day, Mr. Shetty returned with an umbrella and a bag of books. "Come to my house every evening. I'll teach you." Anil didn't hesitate. For the next 3 years, Anil worked mornings and studied evenings. He learned fast. Mr. Shetty was stunned by his memory, hunger to learn, and discipline. When Anil turned 16, Mr. Shetty helped him enroll in a government school. The other students mocked him. He smelled like smoke. His uniform was secondhand. His shoes had holes. But Anil didn't care. He came first in class. By the time he graduated, he had earned a scholarship to college. He chose commerce, not because he loved numbers, but because he wanted to learn how to run a business. He had one goal: to never let another child grow up in hunger the way he had. Anil worked part-time in college, mopping floors at a cafe and tutoring kids on weekends. Every rupee went to his mother's medicine and saving for his dream. After college, he applied for jobs, hundreds of them. Most rejected him because he didn't speak fluent English or lacked experience. But one startup gave him a shot as a sales intern. Anil poured himself into it. He didn't take days off. He read every sales book he could find, watched videos late into the night, practiced his pitch in front of a mirror. In a year, he became the top performer. In 2, he was managing a small team. But Anil didn't stop there. He started writing a blog about his journey. Raw, emotional, and honest. It went viral. Thousands began following him. Young people who were struggling, who saw themselves in his story. One day, his boss said, "You have leadership in your blood. Why don't you start your own venture?" And he did. With 10,000 Indian rupees borrowed from Mr. Shetty and a dream bigger than any number, Anil launched a small educational company, Ignite. It offered online classes, soft skills training, and career guidance for underprivileged students. He ran it from a tiny room with 2 interns. The first few months were brutal. No clients, no money. Anil skipped meals again, pawned his old phone, and walked miles to save bus fare. But then a breakthrough. A viral video of him speaking at a slum school caught the attention of a social entrepreneur. He offered Anil funding. Within a year, Ignite had centers in 5 cities. Anil traveled nonstop, taught in remote villages, held motivational talks in juvenile centers, trained school dropouts to become confident, employable citizens. People began calling him the Firewalker. At 25, he received a national award for youth leadership. On stage, he looked into the crowd and said, "I never had a silver spoon. I had garbage bags, burnt fingers, and sleepless nights. But I also had books, and fire, and belief." That was enough. His mother, now recovered, sat in the front row, tears silently streaming down her face. When the ceremony ended, journalists swarmed around him, microphones shoved near his face, flashes blinding him, questions pouring like monsoon rain. "Anil, what's your secret? How did you come this far from where you started?" He smiled humbly. There's no secret, just stubbornness. I refuse to give up, even when life gave me every reason to. That night, Anil walked alone under the stars, the same street where he once studied under the flickering light. It hadn't changed, but he had. He touched the old electric pole and whispered, "Thank you." Despite the fame and growing business, Anil never changed his habits. He still woke before dawn. He still read every night. And he still spent weekends teaching kids in slums. To him, success was never about luxury. It was about impact. By the time Anil turned 28, Ignite had become one of India's fastest-growing educational social ventures. It partnered with state governments, NGOs, and international donors. More than 200,000 youth had gone through his training programs. Dropouts became teachers. Juvenile delinquents became entrepreneurs. Some even went on to become civil servants. But success came with challenges. One day, during a live webinar with over 30,000 viewers, a technical failure cut the stream. Trolls online began attacking him, calling his story fake, accusing him of selling hope. It stung. He sat in silence that night, rereading anonymous hate messages. Then he remembered his mother's words. Truth doesn't scream. It endures. The next day, he released a raw video, shot on his old phone, showing where he grew up, where he studied under the streetlight, and where he first dreamed. He didn't explain. He just showed. It silenced the critics. Months later, one of his oldest students, Rinku, launched her own educational startup. At the opening, she introduced Anil as the man who saw gold in my broken crayons. Anil was speechless. He had built an empire, not of glass towers, but changed lives. But something still gnawed at him. He hadn't finished his formal education. He had skipped higher studies to chase his mission. So at 30, he quietly applied for admission to a prestigious international university. Without telling anyone, he wrote his essay on grit, garbage, and growth. He was accepted with a full scholarship. During his 2 years abroad, he studied policy, tech for education, and public administration. But what fascinated his classmates most wasn't what he learned. It was what he had lived. Anil graduated top of his class. Returning to India, he was greeted at the airport not by VIPs, but by hundreds of students holding placards that read, "Our hero, our hope." He broke down in tears. Anil then launched Ignite 2.0, a hybrid model combining online AI-powered learning with real-life mentoring. He integrated regional languages and built mobile classrooms to reach tribal regions. His model was adopted in 6 countries. At 34, Anil was invited to the United Nations Youth Summit. In his speech, he said, "I was once a nobody, just a boy with soot on his skin and dreams in his eyes. My school was the street, my playground, a junkyard. But inside, I had something priceless, belief. That's all you need. The rest you build." The hall rose in applause. That same year, a Bollywood biopic was made about his life. He didn't act in it. He didn't want to, but he consulted on every frame to ensure it stayed honest. The film won national awards. One night, at a late screening in Mumbai, he sat in the back row, unnoticed. On screen, a young actor portrayed a teenage Anil digging through garbage. A woman in front whispered, "Can you believe someone like him actually exists?" Anil smiled quietly. Later, when a young fan approached him and asked for one piece of advice, he said, "Pain is your teacher. Let it teach you, not defeat you." He built schools in regions without roads. He gave scholarships to orphans. He personally mentored street kids who reminded him of himself. One winter evening, as he sat beside Mr. Shetty, now frail and retired, Anil handed him a thick envelope. "What's this, Anil?" "A deed for your house. You gave me knowledge. Let me give you comfort." Tears welled up in the old man's eyes. "You were always the best student I ever had." "No, sir," Anil replied. "You were the best teacher the world forgot to reward." Years passed. Anil refused to join politics, despite many offers. He believed change should begin in the classroom, not the parliament. On his 40th birthday, he returned to the slum he grew up in. The hut where he was born had collapsed years ago. In its place stood a learning center, built by his foundation. A small boy peeked from the doorway, holding a book. Anil knelt and asked, "What's your name?" "Ravi," the boy whispered. "What do you want to be?" The boy didn't hesitate. "Like you." Closing narration. Anil was not born in wealth, status, or ease. He was forged in hardship, tested by time, and fueled by purpose. His life proves that circumstances don't define you, choices do. Every setback he faced became a stepping stone. Every rejection, a redirection. Every doubt, a reason to dig deeper. He didn't just rise from the ashes. He built a fire so bright, it lit the way for thousands. And in that fire, he found his true self.